So I took a trip to the Dollar Tree and I'm trying to create this look here. I'm going to insert a picture and it includes balloons and streamers. So I got pink and red streamer from the Dollar Tree, very inexpensive. And I also got a few heart balloons so I can try to create the vibe. And we're going to see if I can get as close as possible to this particular setup. I don't have a lot of balloons, but I have a few. Hopefully I can create it and make it look nice just with the streamer and the balloons. So we're going to see. Stay tuned. So this is how the backdrop turned out, you guys. And I think it turned out just wonderful. My chair is there because that's where I'll be sitting. But this is for the video. And I think it turned out pretty nice.
Whisper yelled. Yeah, but 2 wrongs, I said, parroting my mother's sentiments. Jim, you haven't done anything wrong, Maxie interrupted. You haven't slept with the man? It's just chatting, friendly conversations, chats that make you happy, might I add. Maxie was right. I hadn't crossed an inappropriate line with Ezekiel in reality. We never engaged in sexual conversations or alluded to seeing each other in the future. Our dialogue was easygoing, genuine, stimulated,
Welcome back to the channel. So I could not wait to actually do this video. It is in theme of the month of February, Valentine's Day, and also I feel like I am starting to get a little more into romances, but I felt like this book fit the theme of Valentine's Day. So getting into this next book of completion, Somebody's Wife by Robbi Renee. Guys, this book was amazing. I really enjoyed it. There was some shady parts in there. Of course, you always find shady parts in the book. But this book told a story of second chance love. It told a story of healing. It told a story of being bold, stepping out there and not settling, and not really being afraid, right, to take chances. So I absolutely loved this storyline. It was great. I really enjoyed it. So if you're ready, let's just get into the book and the review of the book. So the book starts off at Monroe University, and there is a freshman there by the name of Gemma. Gemma and her roommate Karan, who share a room together. So Gemma had been noticing this guy named Quentin on campus, and she thought it was really cute. Had no idea that what she was about to get ready to find out. So her and Karan was in their dorm. They were painting, trying to make it, you know, cute and things like that. They wanted stripes on the wall and they couldn't really get it together. Like, they had paint everywhere. It was a mess. So Karan said, you know what, my brother stays across from our dorm, and let's see if we can get him over here to see if he can help us with our painting since we can't get it right. So Karan invites her brother over along with his friend to help out with the painting. And then Gemma gets the shock of her life. Like, she finds out that Karan's brother is Quentin. Quentin is the guy that she thinks is so hot that's on campus. So Quentin gets to the dorm and he's really smitten by Gemma. He feels that Gemma is really cute. He likes her. And his sister was like, well, you know, are you going to help us paint or not? So Quentin agrees to paint the room only under the circumstance that Gemma will go out on a date with him. So Gemma decides to go out on a date with him, and her friend Karan was like, absolutely not. You have dated too many of my friends, broken their hearts. I will not let this happen to Gemma. But Gemma speaks up and she's like, sure, I'll go out on a date with you. And then Karan is looking like, okay. And so, but Gemma has her own rules here. So Gemma is stating, hey, I'll go out on a date with you only if you get these stripes in the room painted the way that I want them done, and not just any old type of way. So Quentin is very cocky. He's like, you'll love it. You'll love it. So I have no doubt that you'll love it. So Gemma's like, okay, let's see what you can do. So Quentin gets the job done. He gets the job done to her liking, and they're going to go out on a date. So Gemma is prepping. She's getting ready to go out on this date. Her friend is helping her with her hair, and they're talking. And so her friend Karan is like, look, girl, I don't want you going out with my brother. And he's been known to be a player and things like that. He'll just break your heart. And he'll just snatch your virginity from you. Karan is hilarious, by the way. She is hilarious. Her language is just so funny. Will keep you laughing on the edge of your seat. So I love her. Her personality is great. So she's like, you know what? I'm trying to warn you. You've been warned. So if you still want to do this, go at it at your own risk. Like, this is on you. So she's like, I think I'm a big girl. I think I'm adult enough to make decisions like this. And, let's see what this brings. So getting ready for the date, she gets a text from Quentin. And then Quentin is stating, well, hold on there. Don't get too fancy smancy dressed up, that I want you to put on some relaxed clothing because it's not going to be that type of date. And then she's thinking to herself, okay, so where is he taking me that he wants me to wear relaxed clothing? So she does it. She puts on her Jordan 1s and she gets really relaxed with her clothing and that. And then so they go on this date. And the date is not a typical date. So it's not like a restaurant date or anything like that. He takes her to the track and field of Monroe University. And it's kind of private at this point because there's no students really on campus. And Quentin is saying this is his track. This is his own private track. So he takes her to the track and she's thinking to herself, well, do you take all your dates to the track and to places like this? He said, well, you're the first girl I've ever taken to this location. So I've never taken anyone here before. And so he gives her the history, the background of it. They even have a playful race around the track. And of course she wins. He lets her get a lead and she wins. And she said during all of that, she never noticed the plush blanket that he had laid out for them, which had food. It had the little Monroe University cups there for them to drink out of and things like that. But she then noticed once they got seated that it was Chinese food. She loves Chinese food. And she was amazed because he did his research and he found out that she absolutely loved Chinese food, and he decided to incorporate that on the date. So he was getting major brownie points at this point with Gemma. And I think Gemma was beginning to get impressed at this point. He was already good looking and she knew that she liked him. So this was adding major points to their date. So 7 months into their relationship, everybody on the university campus was calling them the perfect couple. And it was pretty much almost like you hear couple goals. That's what they were looking like at this point. And I kind of have to think that has to be a lot of pressure, because I don't feel as though anyone should be given really the title of couple goals. It's a lot of pressure, but they were giving that title. Couple goals. On Valentine's Day, Gemma turns 19. So she decides to give Quentin something really special. And I'm going to read what she says, which was pretty, it was good. It was pretty deep. Like I like the way that she described what was getting ready to happen. So I'm going to read it to you. She says, she describes it as relinquishing her sinless treasure to Quentin. So meaning that she was going to give him her virginity and she was going to lose her virginity at 19. She decided this was what and when she wanted it to happen. So a little bit after this, Quentin and Gemma are in love, and all of a sudden Gemma feels as though she's ill. She's ill and she's throwing up often. So she gets the thought of, ooh, I might be pregnant. So she calls Quentin and is like, Quentin, I threw up again. And he's like, oh, wow. She's like, yes, oh, wow. Because at this point, Gemma is a star student. She was just high achieving. And her parents had really high expectations for her. And so her finding out that she could possibly be pregnant and having these symptoms was devastating to her because, of course, you have to break the news to your parents. And Quentin was nervous as well because his parents had high expectations for him. Gemma goes to a local drugstore and she picks up pregnancy tests. And so her and Quentin, they come together and she is trying to get herself together. She purposefully did not use the restroom because she wanted to save it so that she could take the pregnancy test and get the results. During this time, Quentin is in the bathroom with her. He's pacing. She's like, Quentin, can you please stop pacing? You are making me nervous. It's getting on my nerves pretty much. And he was like, well, I can't really help it. So she takes the pregnancy test and yes, it is confirmed. She is pregnant. Their little 7, 8 month, 9 month relationship turns into a pregnancy. And during this time of her pregnancy, they still continue to be that idol couple. They really work towards their academics and they don't lose sight of what they wanted for their lives. Of course, telling their parents, the mothers both cried, the fathers were angry, upset, but this was the reality. The baby during the week going between parents, and then on the weekends with Gemma and Quentin. That's how the arrangement worked, and that's how it allowed them to graduate from college. After she goes into labor, she has this 7-pound baby that Quentin then asks her, because he's bawling. He has so much joy in his heart. And he's like, Gemma, baby, I love you. Will you marry me? Said to herself, well, how could I deny that at 20 years old? I not saying yes to him. Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I guess that to me, in my head, if you want to make a relationship work and you have conceived a child together, it's not always ideal to just jump into that and do something like that. But if you guys don't have a bad relationship, then why not? It definitely could be a possibility. So I understand why she said yes. But then again, she's super young. 20 years into their marriage, they have this beautiful life they've started. They now have their beautiful daughter who's 19. And Gemma explains after being married for 20 years, things become a little stale with Quentin. They don't kiss like they used to. He gives her kisses on the forehead. Yuck. So it becomes pretty stale. It becomes very routine. And come to find out, Quentin is known for cheating, having relationships outside of their marriage. And she has stayed through those trials and tribulations. She stayed within the marriage. So she was really trying to hold on to the marriage thing, which is just like, that has to be very unhappy. Like, you have to be very sad during that moment. In their current life, Quentin becomes the head of the track and field team that is at his alma mater, Monroe University, which is great. He decided to come back to the college and kind of put in his work there. Gemma also returns to Monroe University as President Dean of Student Affairs. And this is pretty huge. And at this time, because she's completed her doctorate. So she is now Dr. Gemma Holiday. And of course, Quentin's name is Quentin Holiday. So go figure. Okay, just wanted to clear that up. I don't think that I mentioned that. So she's now Dr. Gemma Holiday, which is awesome. This is her title currently. And also with having the title at the university, she is also on the board of administration. She's on this board and she has been given power to help pick people on this particular board for executive positions at the university. So Jenna has been given the privilege. There are 2 finalists that are up for a position at the university. And Gemma already is pretty much sold on the woman who's in one of the finalists for this position. Feels like there needs to be more women on the campus than men in position, because she says it's becoming to look like a good old boys club, and she said it needs more estrogen on the campus. Actually, feel where she's coming from. So she was like the second finalist. Who cares? I'm pretty much sold on the woman. And then so when she had her interview with the woman who was in position for as a finalist, she loved everything about her. So she was sold. I don't need to see the other person really, but she had to. The next dinner interview was set. And I don't know if I mentioned, but they were 2 dinner interviews. So the next dinner interview was set. She was given the information that the second finalist would be arriving late, that he needed accommodations for arriving late. And I thought this was kind of arrogant. I mean, I understand some people know they have qualities, but you don't say that you're arriving late. You arrive when arrangements are set, and you keep your agreement. That's arrogant to me. So was rubbing me the wrong way already. She was giving the message that the finalists would be arriving late. And she thought to herself, who does he think he is? So she got the information, but the person who gave her the information said, well, we know that you and your girls, your soror sisters, are planning a girls' night out. And this was the night that you had planned to do it. And we know that it would be an inconvenience. So we have arranged for you to meet the second finalist at the W Hotel. And we have booked you a private room for you and your girls. That was really cool. So Gemma's like, oh, God, that's great. So I don't have to miss out on my girls' gathering. And she was really happy about her 2 girlfriends who are just amazing. They are a hoot. If you ever get a chance to just read it or listen to the book, they are so colorful with their words, but they're so supportive. This is everything you want in a girlfriend. So it was Karan, who is Quentin's sister, who's her best friend, as well as Maxine. And they are some really great friends. So they were meeting up on this day to just hang out. So now they have a private room, and Gemma does not have to miss out on their girls' night out. So this is a little bit about this finalist. It is a Dr. Ezekiel. So he is a divorced man. And that's a little bit about his history. Gemma arrives at the W Hotel and is greeted by Maxine and Karan. And these girls just start throwing back drinks, right? Let's get the party started, even before the interview. But then Gemma's like, I do need to maintain and keep myself together while giving this interview. So the girls are having their cocktails, and then Dr. Ezekiel comes in and he greets Gemma and he makes himself known, and they are seated and they begin their interview, which is something that's going to rub me the wrong way, really. So they have a seat and they're getting into the interview and things like that. Her girlfriends are so cheeky. They send over a lemon drop drink during her interview, and Gemma's confused. She's like, well, I didn't order this. And then the waitress like, well, the women that you were with, they wanted to keep the party going, so they paid for drinks to continue. That is so like Girlfriends. So I was really smiling when I heard that. It's like they really wanted her to have a good time and get relaxed during the interview. I don't know if that's professional, but I'm having a restaurant interview. I guess anything could go down. I don't know. That happened. And they get through the interview. Gemma asks the question, I'm finished with the interview. Do you have any questions for me? And then Ezekiel is like, yeah, I do have some questions for you. But these questions are not normal, regular questions. They're very invasive, asking about her personal life and things like that. And he is very attracted to her. Of course, she finds attraction in him as well when they first see each other, but he's going hard with it. And she has on her wedding ring and the whole nine, and he's like oblivious to this, I'm thinking, because he's still like flirting on the low. And this is one thing that I don't like, because I feel like once you got that cue that, hey, this woman is married, she's off limits, you have to stop it. I don't care what you think you heard in the conversation or whatever. I feel like this is just like, ugh. Oh, but I understand the direction that the book was going into. But this part I absolutely did not like, because people who press hard and go hard for someone that they like and they know that they are married, to me, that just screams disrespect, right? And you know that this person is married. So I absolutely just did not love that part at all. He's getting very invasive with the questions. And Gemma's like, well, you know that I'm married, right? And he was thinking to himself like, yeah, I know that you're married, things like that. So they cut from there, and then he's like, well, let's go into the lounge part of the restaurant and let's have a drink. So inappropriate. Once the dinner interview was over, that should have been cut. Gemma was kind of in the moment of, I feel like, trying to rediscover herself and allowing herself to feel affection again. I think that that's where that was going, and that's why she probably agreed to it. So again, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. They go to the lounge, they have a drink, and he asks her about one night stand. And then so she's like, well, I've never had a one night stand. And he's like, well, you know what? I haven't either. At this point, I think that they are really entertaining this one night stand. Gemma is still like against it, because she's like, no, I can't. I'm a married woman. And absolutely, you should not be considering that, young lady. You are a married woman. And no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Clearly, we see where this is headed. This is headed towards a one night stand, y'all. So Gemma wants to cut the lounge, I guess, get to know each other cocktail hour short. She's like, you know, I'm supposed to be hanging out with my girlfriends. Let me just go. So Ezekiel's like, I would like to walk you. She had a hotel room there, and he also had a hotel room there. So he said, well, let me walk you to your hotel room. And before they, so I forgot to mention before that, he asked her for a dance while they were in the lounge area. How inappropriate is that? Like, he is touching on parts of her body, like below, like on her waist. That is just a no. And she's married. I don't even care if you feel like you have any type of thought in your mind that this might be okay. It is not okay, because you have to at some point put yourself in a position of that married man and know that it would not be okay. Even though the guy that we're talking about, who's Gemma's husband, is not crap, but still, like, this isn't established just yet, you know? We feel like he's still on his best behavior. Two, I forgot to mention, Gemma makes a call while on this dinner interview with Ezekiel to her husband, and her husband doesn't pick up. That is so sus. And my thing is this: I don't care how busy you feel like you are, you better pick up my phone call. They go into the elevator, and they get off on her floor. So before she gets off, he drops his room key in her pocket, and he's like, don't think, just come if that's what's in your heart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so wrong, y'all. On so many levels, this is wrong. And I was struggling through these parts because I love that for her. But until you work out your marriage, like, and then again, so she probably figures like my husband has cheated on me and whatever. And then to make matters just like even more complicated, her girlfriends is like, girl, you better have that one night stand, right? When she gets back to room, her girlfriend was like, so did you have the one night stand? Like, what's going on? Did you kiss him? Are you thinking about it? What's the plans? And Gemma's like, I don't think that I should. She gets into the room with her girlfriends. She finds ice cream and all that. They're having a good old funky time, right? So she sits her key down to their room right at the front when she first comes in. So she's sitting down, she's talking to the girls. The girls like, give me the tea. Give us the tea on how everything went at that dinner arrangement interview with Ezekiel. And so she was like, he's so fine, this and that, and I couldn't, and everything that happened. So she pops out the key that he puts in her pocket onto the table. The girls' eyes were like, what? They asked like, well, what is this key from? And then she explained where the key came from and things like that and what they discussed. She gets a call from her husband, Quentin. And Quentin, she's asking him like, well, what took you so long to call me and things like that? And then so he's like, I was busy or whatever. And then she was like, So in the background, he has his friend there and he's like, well, come on, man, we got to hit the spot. So Quentin's like, okay, I'm out. I'll call you later. I'll talk to you later. And ends the call abruptly. That is such a red flag. And what spot? She's looking all types of confused and things like that. The girls, they talk about the whole situation. And Karan, of course, she's like, my brother's not nothing. You've already known this. And I think you should have the one night stand. You should go back and see Ezekiel and things like that. So she's hearing all of this. The girls fall asleep. And then so Gemma decides she's going to leave and go to Ezekiel's room. So she goes to his room, they talk and do all of this, but they don't get into any intimate anything. I'm still very uncomfortable at this moment, but I guess Gemma is in the place where she's just exploring the possibilities. Do I agree with this? No, this is very uncomfortable for me at this moment. When she wakes up, Ezekiel is gone. He's not there laying by her side. He's taken off because he had to go back to his hometown. She's there in his hotel room when she gets a call from her girlfriends. And they're like, oh my goodness, where are you? Did you do the deed? Did you have the one night stand? They was like, well, you need to hurry up because we are starving. We want breakfast and it's time to go. So she leaves and she's just thinking about their conversation and things that they talked about. And she goes and she has breakfast with her girlfriend. So after that whole situation, Gemma starts to think about Ezekiel a lot. And she gets the notification that Ezekiel gets the position. So she's quite happy about it, even though at the beginning her mind was so made up. But it makes things even more complicated in my eyes if he's now working on the campus alongside with you and you have these feelings for him. And not to mention your husband is on campus as well. Complications. He gets the position and him and Gemma's relationship starts to get deepened. And they even take it to the level of now they're getting intimate. He knows he can never be with her because she's still somebody else's wife. She knows she can never completely be with him because she's still married. And this is really plaguing their relationship. During all of this, Gemma discovers that her husband had been cheating once again, but this time he has gotten a woman pregnant. So all bets are off in Gemma's eyes at this point. She's like, no, I cannot do it. We cannot stay married. It is over. I need a divorce. Quentin's like, oh, Gemma, baby, we can't separate and I love you. That was a stupid mistake. I made a big mistake and it should have never happened. And Gemma's like, I don't want to hear it. this is not the only time you cheated on me, but this is to the extreme where I'm not going to accept you having a kid on me. And more power to her. But to be clear, they both were cheating at this point. But yes, so Gemma was like, this is a deal breaker for me. This is not happening. With Gemma finding out that he has a baby on the way, and then him having to now explain it to their 19-year-old daughter, and then explain it to their parents, the heat was on Quentin. And I think Quentin understood that. And I think that he thought that he could just cheat and it be like it always has been, and that Gemma would just get over it. And Gemma was like, absolutely. So through all of this, Ezekiel continues to support Gemma. And I have to say, Ezekiel is very persistent, and what he wants, he's definitely going to stay on board and hold on to and be patient and get what he wants. And that's amazing, but also very wrong, because again, Gemma is married, and they go through a lot during their time of creeping around and keeping things secret. And it's just a lot. Like, I don't know if I could do all of that. That would just be, it'd just be too much. I just feel like go and get the divorce, and then you can avoid all of the crazy sneaking around and creeping. Like, it's just too much. Finally, through all of this, Gemma gets her divorce. So Gemma is doing a interview with a journalist, and they're asking about her book, because Gemma writes a book. So during all of her processing of the divorce, she's having to support her 19-year-old daughter through it all, moving through her divorce. And her and Ezekiel had not spoken. So Ezekiel is starting to get very concerned. Gemma pretty much at this moment is on a sabbatical from her position, and she's really just trying to help her daughter get through the divorce, and also finish her book, complete a book. And no one has an idea about that. Ezekiel gets a phone call saying, have you seen social media? Get on social media. So this interview comes up with Gemma doing the interview with the journalist. The journalist is asking Gemma about the book that she's completed. And Gemma just is expressing how she was 20 years old. Well, first, she's expressing that through the book, she's telling women to be bold and be brave and take risk. And Gemma says in her life, she wasn't able to do that. She married at 20, she had a baby at 20, and she really didn't get an opportunity to become a woman and come into her womanhood. And everything was really fast for her. And she didn't get an opportunity to express that. So I think through the book, she wanted to give that advice to other women to step out there, be bold, be brave. And you know what? I love that. I love that, because I feel like so many times we feel trapped within a relationship, within a marriage, and we feel like that's it. That's all for us. So I love that part. Absolutely. Gemma also talks about in the book where she expressed that she was a 40-year-old woman who was rediscovering herself. And that's amazing too, because I know at a particular age for some women, it's like, I can't do that. I don't even want to try it. I'm too old in my age. I guess too old in my age, and I cannot make that happen. So I feel like this book has a little bit of encouragement with that as well, which was nice. In the interview, Gemma mentions that she wants a boyfriend. Like, she doesn't want to be married at this moment, but she wants a boyfriend. And so Ezekiel hears this and he's like, you know what? I've already made her my girlfriend in my head. To me, she's already my girlfriend. So they connect after the interview with a call, and then he comes to visit her. And then during that visit, they make it official. Also, which was really sweet, the cover of her book was a picture of him and her embracing, which was cute. It was kind of blurred as what it was described of in the book. But Ezekiel knew that it was him and her when he seen it. So that was sweet. But they make things official and they become girlfriend and boyfriend, and the rest is history. Okay, so I definitely feel like it kept me at the edge of my seat. I definitely am going to give it, just because of the language, the fun in it, second chance love, romance in it, the exotic stuff that's in it. Because y'all, this book is steamy, okay? Steamy. And it tells a story of a woman transitioning and like finding her way really through life after being not forced, but being put in a position where she kind of grew up really fast, having a child early, getting married early, really starting a family early without being able to explore who she was as a woman. So all of that is given strength, right? What I kind of was torn about was how her and Ezekiel's relationship progressed and how he was so cocky to push up on her during their getting to know each other, and that he was going after what he wanted and knowing that this woman was married. He was still backing off, but he was still low-key pursuing her. So that was a little side-eye shadiness right there. But I thought overall the book was great. I give it a 5.0, 5 stars. I thought it was great. It is a romance novel. And again, I'm getting into romance novels, you guys. So I really enjoyed the book. And it was an audiobook. So if you guys are able to listen to the audiobook, the people who narrate it are wonderful. They will keep you entertained. I don't think that I finished the audiobook that quickly like I finished this one, because I was just entertained. So I absolutely love this book, Somebody's Wife by Robbi Renee. If you guys get an opportunity to read it or listen to it, please do. You will not waste your time. It was so good. I hope you guys enjoyed this book review, and till the next time, I hope you stick around, subscribe, and share, and I will see you on the next video.